You guys ready? Okay, he's ready.
Ready? Come on.
Everybody but
Come on, Bruce.
everybody but Bruce is ready.
Jeez.
It's all about Bruce.
Always waiting for Bruce.
Always Bruce.
After discussing, I'm getting a job at tourism.
Todd, make a note that Chris was prepared to go forward. But Bruce was, he's the weak link over
So
there.
noted. Yes.
All right. Ready to be in order?
Okay, welcome to the Queen Anne's County Commissioners meeting. This is a public meeting that is being aired live on our local cable television station, QAC-TV 7. These media broadcasts provide county citizens an opportunity to watch and review our scheduled public meetings. To comply with the governor's proclamation declaring a state of emergency in Maryland to minimize the person-to-person spread of COVID-19, we are providing remote options for citizens to watch and participate in county commissioner meetings. Citizens may watch our meeting live on our QAC website at www.qac.org/live or on QAC TV's television channel, Atlantic Broadband Channel 7 and Channel 507. Citizens may also participate by joining the live Zoom meeting by going to www.qac.org/public comment. Citizens may also email comments to publiccomment@qac.org. We will accept comments up to the end of the meeting. Comments received will be read aloud during the public comment period on this evening's agenda. We acknowledge your participation, and by attending, you acknowledge that this session is both recorded and aired. Press and public comment will be taken and is limited to 3 minutes per person. If you care to speak, please sign the sheet on the information table in our lobby. Comments longer than 3 minutes can be submitted in writing for the Commissioner's review. We will now stand and be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Commission President Chris Corcorino.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a Memorial Day coming up. Let's have a moment of silence for all of those who sacrificed for our freedom here. Thank you.
Okay, we just held a closed session to discuss personnel and boards and commissions, and I believe we have reached consensus on a number of boards and commissions, so we can run through those first, if that's okay, Commissioners?
Go ahead.
Okay, first we have the Bay Bridge Airport Advisory Commission. We have 2 vacancies, and I think there was consensus to reappoint Craig Conrad and Fred Lango. Lango, excuse me. So could we get a motion on that, please?
I move to reappoint Craig Conrad and Fred Lango to the Bay Bridge Airport Advisory Committee to begin July 1, 2021 and end June 30, 2024.
Second.
Okay, got a motion, a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 5-0, motion carries.
All right, thank you, Commissioners. Our next board is the Blue Heron Golf Course Advisory Committee. We had 2 applicants and 2 vacancies.
I move to appoint Carl Eberline and Don Trotter to the Blue Heron Golf Course Advisory Committee to begin July 1, 2021 and end June 30, 2023.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 5-0, the motion carries.
Okay, next up we have the Department of Emergency Services Advisory Council. We have 4 vacancies and 4 applicants.
Okay. Okay, I move to reappoint Sandra Early for consumer. Let's see here, because they all go to a different
Consumer at large.
Consumer at large.
Consumer at large, okay. And let's see here, Faye Williams for District 1, and to appoint Ben Hammock for District 2 and Steve Sounder for District 4 for a 2-year term on the Department of Emergency Services Advisory Council to begin July 1, 2021 and end June 30th, 2023.
Second.
All right, motion and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. 5-0, motion carries.
All right, thank you, Commissioners. Our next board is the Electrical Examiners and Supervisors.
Motion to reappoint Rob Beasley and Rick Davis to the Electrical Examiner and Supervisors Board to begin July 1st, 2021 and end June 30th, 2026.
Second.
All right, got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? 5-0, motion carries.
Okay, next up, we have the Housing Authority Board.
I move to appoint Rick Sierra to the Housing Authority Board to begin July 1, 2021 and end June 30th, 2026.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right, thank you, Commissioners. We have one more, and this is for the Employee Awards Committee.
I move to appoint Katie Price to a 2-year term on the Employee Awards Committee to begin immediately and end December 31st, 2023.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? 5-0, motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioners. That brings us to the approval of today's minutes, or the agenda and the minutes. So our agenda for today's meeting, May 25th, the regular session and closed session minutes from your May 11th meeting, along with our budget work session meetings from May 18th, were distributed electronically for your review. Do we have any additions or corrections?
Motion to add 2 agenda items to tonight's agenda.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion to adopt the agenda and minutes as amended.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
All right, Commissioners, thank you very much. That brings us to our first press and public comment period. Thank you for taking the time to express your views to the County Commissioners during this public comment period. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person. Comments longer than 3 minutes may be submitted in writing. When you come forward, please speak clearly at the microphone, state your name, address, and topic of interest. Keeping with the dignity of our office, we ask that all views be expressed in a respectful and civil manner. This commission respects your desire and right to convey your message freely. We ask as a courtesy to the board and our citizens that you respect the commissioner's request and refrain from naming citizens and/or name calling when offering any critique. So do we have any
No one signed up.
people? Okay. Anybody on Zoom?
No, we have currently no one in Zoom or emails.
All right.
Okay. All right, then, Commissioners, we can go on to new business. So if you want to turn to tab number 3, we have, I think, 8 items this evening for consideration. So tab 3, item number 1 on page 1 is a letter of support for a grant application to the Maryland Heritage Areas Authority and a $25,000 mini block grant submitted by Eastern Shore Heritage, which is the managing entity for Stories of the Chesapeake. Can I get a
I
motion?
move to sign the support letter, the Eastern Shore Heritage Incorporated Management and Block Grant application by the Maryland Heritage Areas Authority.
Second.
All right. Got a motion and a second. Any discussion on that? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? 5-0, motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioners. Item number 2 on page 2, this is an easement agreement that allows for shared access parking on property owned by Kent Narrows Marine, and the developer is providing the county access to and the use of certain parking areas for public parking, and there is an exhibit there. We have about 118 spaces there that will be available for parking at the Kent Narrows along the waterfront, adjacent to the second phase of the Botel.
I move to sign the shared access and parking easement as presented to allow public access and parking in accordance with the Kent Narrows Marine LLC subdivision plat.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Just kind of reminds me of that Trojan horse that gets pulled in. Anyways, I'm glad. I mean, we can always use the parking, but anyways. That's all.
And I mentioned too, there is an additional boardwalk along the waterfront there. That'll also be for public access as well, ties into our trail system, so it's be a nice amenity for our citizens.
All right, so we got a motion to sign the shared access and parking easement as presented to allow public access and parking in accordance with the Kent Narrows Marine LLC subdivision plat. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, thank you, Commissioners. Item 3 on page 12. This is a series of 2 MOUs for the Bay Bridge Run scheduled for Halloween this year, 10/31/21. The first is with MDTA, and the second is with our new event sponsor, Corrigan Sports Enterprises. And I will introduce Lee Corrigan here. He's here this evening, and Sean Ryan, who is a contractor with him, to acknowledge their presence here today. So if you have any questions, they're here to answer any questions. But these agreements have been vetted by our county attorney and, of course, Mr. Corrigan, and we are ready to move forward.
I move to sign the MOU with MDTA and the MOU with Corrigan Sports Enterprises to facilitate the Bay Bridge Run to be held October 31st, Halloween Day, 2021, which will start in Anne Arundel County and finish at the Chesapeake Bay Business Park in Queen Anne's County.
Second.
Boy, we should have some interesting people out there on a Halloween day. That's all I can
second
say.
it so we can get to the discussion part.
Why don't you guys come on up and
Yeah.
introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit since you're here.
My name is Lee Corrigan from Corrigan Sports Enterprises. We are the new event directors and owners. Of course, Mr. Sean Ryan here has been involved with this event for many years, and he has been the primary operations facilitator. So my company is Maryland-based. We're headquartered in Elkridge, Maryland. We own a lot of running events and lacrosse events throughout the region as well as throughout the country. And one of the things that makes us different than most organizations that have been working on this event and work in our space, in the running space, is we have 20 full-time employees. And unlike many organizations like us that farm out a lot of that stuff. So on race day, on Halloween day, 20 Corrigan Sports Enterprises people will be on site. And that's one of the things that makes us different. And we'll be working on this event all year round to make it successful. Also, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the folks from the Queen Anne's County Tourism and Department who are certainly interested in the economic impact and the great PR for Queen Anne's County. So look forward to working with all of you guys and learning the details and all the players. You know, today I think I've met 40 people today.
And your role?
Sean.
Yeah, so, and I know some of you. My name is Sean Ryan. I've been involved since 2013. I'm an at-large contractor based out of Wisconsin, actually, although I work in Maryland, I work in Boston, and I work in other places. I came in 2013 under the original owners, Peter Paris and Sparrow Rogers out of St. Michael's, working on behalf of DMSE, the company that we organize the Boston Marathon. Things went really well, although it was a small event company, didn't have a lot of staff, and so we had to bring in a lot of out-of-area staff, which was okay, but it's usually easier if you have local staff. Then when Ironman bought the event, I continued to work with them. There was a constant succession of people from Ironman, always changing who was assigned to this area. That made it difficult. They too were bringing in a lot of out-of-area people. They didn't have deep roots in the community, just a lot of experience putting on Eagleman and Ironman Maryland. Jerry Boyle passed on. He was the local contractor who kept everything local and had all the relationships. Once he was gone, it was difficult, and now in the wake of COVID, Ironman has basically just relinquished their contract and moved on. This was to be their 5th and final year of a contract with the state, and they told myself, they told Richard Jaramillo from the Bay Bridge that they just didn't have the personnel or the financial footing to continue, and they basically stepped away. At that point, I reached out to your county administrator, and my suggestion was we need to find a local company that's got the staff and the expertise and a good connection to the local running community, which I think they have about 250,000 runners on their databases at Corrigan Sports. Basically, if you're a runner in the Mid-Atlantic region, they know who you are. And I have had a relationship with Lee for several years. I trust him. And so I told the bridge administrator and I told your county administrator, I think this would be a good fit long-term. They're invested in the community. They're going to want to work with local charities. They're going to want to make this about benefiting the local community. And so I was excited to advance the suggestion of working with Corrigan Sports. So I'm working under a 3-year contract, basically to help transition Corrigan Sports into being hopefully a very long-term partner with Queen Anne's County.
So I had an opportunity to sit in on a lot of these planning meetings for these races prior, along with some of my other fellow commissioners. This guy's good.
Oh, he's
Thanks,
good.
Phil.
He's well organized.
He won't leave any stone unturned.
Nope.
Appreciate that.
Welcome.
His playbook's that big.
Well, I do have a question, and it's come up in past events at the bridge, and the fundraisers that our local fire departments do, you know, the beer vending.
Yep.
You know, someone reached out to me today asking me to make sure that the volunteer fire departments can and will be able to do the vending, and I don't know if it's written in here in this agreement, in this MOU with the county.
No, absolutely. We've actually already met Mr. Schultz and some of those key figures, and absolutely, you know, one of the most important part of these events is that you engage the entire community, and we understand that this event has been running very, very well, and I am not here to upset any apple carts. I'm here to make sure everybody wins and everybody walks out of this thing feeling good, whether it's the local volunteer fire department, the folks from tourism, you folks who make sure that the event goes smoothly for the county in every capacity. So that's what my goal is, and that's the goal of my organization will be, and obviously I got a great cheat sheet over here.
Yeah, and James, I would add, I told Lee when we started, I said there was an original verbal agreement,
Right.
which was reneged upon
Right.
when there was a change in ownership, and that
Right.
needs to be reinstated.
Right.
Our plan when we leave here is to have dinner with Jody Schultz tonight at the Crab
Very
Deck.
good. Okay,
So
good.
that,
I mean, it is you know, after coming out of COVID with fundraising, this would be huge.
yes.
And it is you know, the event is well
Attended.
attended by
Yes.
county residents, so I
Yeah.
haven't missed one yet, so very good.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Thanks, guys.
All right, so we have a motion to sign the MOU with MDTA and the MOU with Corrigan Sports Enterprises to facilitate the Bay Bridge Run to be held October 31st, 2021. Spooky. Which will start in Anne Arundel County and finish at the Chesapeake Bay Business Park in Queen Anne's County. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? 5-0, motion carries.
Great, thanks.
Thank you,
All right,
guys.
Thank you both for coming tonight. All right, Commissioners, moving on. Item number 4 on page 13. This is the annual cooperative agreement between Maryland Department of Agriculture and Queen Anne's County that provides for weed control, eradication of noxious and certain invasive weeds for this coming fiscal year.
I move to sign the cooperative agreement on control and eradication of noxious and certain invasive weeds for the period of July 1, 2021 through June 30, 2022.
Second.
All right, motion to second, any discussion?
Who picks the weeds? Who picks where it gets sprayed? How does this do? Does the public just say, look at, you know, I mean, reason being is Phragmites, everybody calls me. Phragmite, you know, it's out of control. The county used to take care of this. You know, what are we doing about it? And I honestly don't have an answer, so.
It's primarily on agricultural properties that we work through the Maryland Department of Ag, so they can report there, but we can do, you know, Phragmites eradication as well on certain public lands. So that's part of this.
So all
as
this
well.
is strictly public lands. It says this is not on private land.
It can be on private lands for the agricultural communities. Yes,
It can be.
For invasive noxious weeds.
But they pay?
Yes.
Right, as versus.
So,
Yeah,
so,
because-
so how does it work? To Jim's question, do we give them a list of what we want sprayed, or they already know, they come in and do it? How exactly does it work?
The agreement works out so that MDA, the Department of Agriculture, kind of oversees that we work under their license. We have operators that work under Public Works that actually do the spraying here in the county. So if we have certain properties we want to get sprayed, we can certainly add those to the list, and that would include Phragmites.
Donna, would you like to shed any light on this issue?
I can.
I mean, you and weed, maybe.
We actually have a weed control specialist that works in the county, and he works out of the extension office. His name is Doug Jordan. People can call into Doug and tell them whether they have Johnson grass, shatter cane, Phragmites, whatever, and they can get on a schedule with him. And as Mr. Wilson said, they do have to pay for that service.
Okay.
But he is a licensed
So we
weed control.
don't, the state and the county don't offer any type of Phragmite eradication that on private property that we pay for.
They do. Mr. Jordan can do that.
But the person has to pay for it.
That's correct.
That's what I'm saying. We don't offer
Yes.
any where we pay for it.
Yes, the private landowner or farm owner or whatever it is, they have to pay for that. And in the Phragmites situation, you can't spray that until the fall because it's the rhizome plant and it spreads underneath. And until that gets ready to shut down for the wintertime, you have to spray that in the fall and let that spray go down into the roots. And a lot of times in the marshland, you've got to have a vehicle that has a very powerful jet-powered spray gun to be able to get out into the marsh or along the edge. And you, at a minimum, you have to spray Phragmites 3 years in a row. Optimal 5 years in a row to get it under control and keep it under control. It's not cheap, but it can absolutely take over to the point where you would have to have a helicopter come in and spray it.
Right.
And didn't we used to do that? here in the county?
Yes, we
Spray
do.
with
And there's people
helicopter?
that still do that. It's very, very expensive. And a lot of people that do the helicopter spraying are people that have waterfront properties that maybe have a very long marsh or a very long wetland, and they just can't get to it with a spray gun. So they'll have a helicopter come in and spray that.
Just to be clear for the public, it's something that we offer a service, but you have to pay for it.
That's correct.
It's the only place that we do
for
it.
the spray. It's like I said, it's not cheap,
Right.
but in order to eradicate that or at least keep it at bay, you've got to do it consistently. You can't come in and spray it once. Same thing with Johnson grass. And Johnson grass, majority of the time, is those really tall weeds you see growing along the roadways, and they keep coming back. And if you don't address that and spray them when appropriate, you keep mowing them off, and they're going to keep growing and expanding because they're also a rhizome plant. So it's something that you're going to have to continually spray, and you got to stay on top of. And as Todd mentioned, they do provide the service on public land. So it would be maybe Terrapin Park, for example, if there's Johnson grass out along Route 50, then MDA could provide that service.
Right. Okay, great. Thank you.
Ferry Point.
Yes, exactly.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Well, I would like to make note of one thing, and Donna can support this. It's the Corsica and Chester were probably 20 years ago, 50% of the shoreline was white sand beaches, of which I would say 97% are gone. They're buried underneath Phragmites now. The good news is it stopped the land erosion, but the bad news is the beaches are absolutely gone, and you won't get them back without millions in spraying.
So do we have a weed advisory committee as per the agreement? Or do we just?
We do not have one currently. This provides, we can, establish a
Well, I'm
weed
just saying,
advisory committee.
within the language of this, it's saying the county may appoint a weed advisory committee. Is that something that maybe we should do to identify some of this stuff and take a, obviously Donna knows.
I would
what she's
sure
doing.
like to know in the last 5 years how much land's got gobbled up by invasive weeds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be a really good thought, too, to try to have someone from state highway and county roads be on that board, because they see it a lot on the roadways.
Right.
And it becomes a very significant nuisance, because if it's not taken care of, those seeds go airborne, and then they're all over.
One more time, Doug Jordan's, where do you reach Doug Jordan?
He is at the extension office. The number is 410-758-0166. Doug George, I'm sorry, not Doug Jordan, I'm thinking one of my contractors.
Doug George.
I'm sorry, I apologize.
That's right.
Yes, but if you call the extension office and ask for them, he does have a voicemail, so you can leave him a message. I'm not sure about cell phone, I'm sure that he does, but he does provide that service. And the county provides him a truck, and with the tank on it and sprayer, so. Okay?
All right, any other questions? Okay, so we have a motion to sign the cooperative agreement and the control and eradication of noxious and certain invasive weeds for a period of July 1, 2021 through June 30th, 2022. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 5-0, motion carries.
So do we want to establish this weed advisory committee for the
I think,
purposes or what?
I just got a couple of messages, and I think let's, at the next meeting, have a discussion about it. And
Okay.
there's a couple of people we can bring in to shed some light on the different licenses and different applications and what will get killed and what won't get killed.
Next meeting
that's
is at
ne-
Kent
yeah.
Island High School.
Correct. Or the one after that.
The one after
Yeah.
that, we have some hearings, so we want to bring them into
so
the
next
July meeting, I think.
Next meeting we
That's
can.
fine by me.
Okay, for second meeting in July?
Yeah.
Or June, excuse me, June, okay.
Yep.
All right,
That's fine.
we can do that. All right. All right, Commissioners, moving on, we have two budget amendments. Item 5 on page 36, this is Budget Amendment CC 40, establishes budget authority in the South Kent Island wastewater fund for debt service associated with the, with that loan for that project. Can I get a motion on that, please?
Is this 40? This item, CC 40?
CC 40, yes.
Okay, I move to approve budget amendment CC 40.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion, a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 5-0, motion carries.
Commissioners, thank you. Next, we have item 6 on page 37, Budget Amendment CC 41. This amendment recognizes emergency rental assistance grant through the Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2021, and that is $530,000 is estimated to be used for the remainder of fiscal '22.
So that's move to approve budget amendment CC 41.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? 5-0, motion carries.
All right, Commissioners, thank you very much. We have two desk items. The next is item number 7. I believe it is marked on your desk. And this is a support letter for a a social justice small grant submitted by Talisman Therapeutic Riding. Can I get a motion on that, please?
I move to sign the Talisman Therapeutic Riding Grant Support Letter.
Second.
Got a motion, a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, Commissioners. And our last action item for this evening, item number 8, is a request for procurement of 2 emergency mannequins for emergency simulations for our county health department. They went through the county procurement process, and they are recommending purchase of an adult mannequin and a pediatric emergency mannequin for $87,307, along with a 5-year maintenance plan for both mannequins of $37,690 for a total package of $124,997, and that is all funded through our county health department.
I move to approve the purchase of replacement adult and pediatric emergent simulation mannequins used for training purposes of 5-year maintenance plan from Ganmard for a total of $124,997.
So this is for a dummy.
Two.
But does anybody realize that that's the same dollar amount that a commissioner gets paid for 5 years? So I guess we're all in that dummy boat.
Touche.
One price for dummies.
Yeah, I guess so.
I'll second it. So, Todd, we have obtained multiple bids on this. Is this what the going rate is for medical grade dummies?
I talked to Dr. Ciatola this earlier today. He did say he went through the county procurement policy, which would require additional bids, and that was the recommendation he provided. So
I will vote okay on this as long as that dummy comes in here with us 5 dummies so I can see this thing live. Because
Yeah, I think that I'll vote for it if you'll bring it in here.
it's got to sit there. It better do something
Give the
special
people
in
what
that
they
chair.
want.
You know, I think that obviously, constant training is probably what makes our Department of Emergency Services as special
Well,
as
it's
they are.
not just that. They use it for nursing and fire companies, and the thing is, they have one, it's 6 years old, it's apparently wore it out using it, so I sort of grilled him, but he wouldn't let go, so
And a fair amount of this cost, $37,690 is,
We're fixing it.
Maintenance.
is the maintenance.
Putting legs back on when they
Dummies take
fall
a
off.
beating.
I guess they must take a beating. Look, I'm not making light of the situation. I just think it's a lot of money. What when we make decisions like this, we see the bids and how they come in,
Yeah.
and we know where those kinds of dollars came from. I would like to see us at least take a look at, I mean, if he went through the procurement process, I'm not doubting that we don't need these, but if we're going to spend this kind of money, we should at least be privy to the other bids that came in and the companies that they went to. That's just me.
I'm good to vote with it because I have a feeling this is a niche business. I doubt there's a million dummy makers out there to do it. And so we've run into this before in certain niche things where they've tried to get other bids, and it's the health department, which is actually it's coming through the state technically anyway. So if the state's spending $124,000 for a dummy, I mean, 2 dummies though, right? We're getting an adult. It's 2 dummies.
No, 1 pediatric.
Pediatric. 1 adult, 1 child.
Little dummy.
If my fellow commissioners are okay with this dollar amount, without seeing the other bids, I am as well. I'll retract my request.
Well, I know that County Administrator Bond did the due diligence and inquired on the background that was done for this, so I trust his judgment on that. I know it sounds like a lot of money, and we are joking because obviously
It is a lot of money for
it is a lot of money.
what you
It
get.
sounds kind of funny, but it is something that is necessary for emergency services to have. They do a lot of training with them, so it is an item that is heavily wear and tear. So let's take a vote.
Yes, let's call the vote.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
And
Any
Scott,
abstaining?
if Dr. C is watching, as soon as that thing comes in,
Yeah. We'll have a demonstration for like 5-0 motion.
I want the
carries.
public to be able to see what we paid $125,000 for. I
we
think
will
that's
definitely
fair.
have the dummies.
They would, I think
Future
they
meeting.
would also use the dummies back before COVID, when we were doing the CERT training people out in public on how to respond in emergency situations when EMS wasn't there. So, I mean, we really, there's a lot of
I
public
just
good
make
that
sure
comes
when
from
they
it.
come in, they do the stop bleeding
Yeah, it's a good
aspect
one.
of the training, so we can see that, just so
Well,
we know how to stop
these
the
dummies do
bleeding.
bleed. They do bleed.
Take place.
Yeah, it's not the dummies of our youth.
With Sussa Annie in a fold-up suitcase
That's
they bring
right.
out and pop out for you.
All right, so we beat that one to death.
Okay, all right, thank you, Commissioners.
It's our job to beat them to death.
That's all our action items for this evening. We do have a public hearing now, so if you want to turn to tab number 6, we have our Maryland Agricultural Land Preservation Fund public hearing, and we have Donna Lana Smith here to preside for this hearing. We have tab 6, item number 1. So, Donna?
Good evening. Excuse me if I'm hoarse, but I was just out at the softball game at the high school. Queen Anne's County undefeated in the conference, played undefeated Cambridge South Dorchester.
And
Cambridge lost. Queen Anne's is now still the undefeated in the conference, 7-0. So
Very
it's
nice.
exciting for the girls.
outstanding.
Very
Must have
proud of
been the
those
great
young ladies.
umpiring.
That's great. Okay, we're having a public hearing tonight for 4 applicants for MALF, and it's been advertised in paper for 2 weeks consecutively. Pursuant to the Agriculture Article Section 2-504, the annotated Code of Maryland, the County Commissioners of Queen Anne's County will hold a public hearing May 25th, 2021 at 6 p.m. in their office at 107 North Liberty Street, Centerville, Maryland. The hearing is to receive public comments on the establishment of the agricultural preservation easement applications on the land owned by the following petitioners: Neil and Robin Brayton on Brayton Lane in Chestertown from the 2nd Election District, tax map 10, parcel 37 for approximately 80 acres. Cole Farm LLC on Livy Road, Churchill, 2nd Election District, tax map 29, parcel 7, approximately 124 acres. Higgs Family Land LLC, Cox Sawmill Road, Henderson, 6th Election District, tax map 38, parcel 15, approximately 266.118 acres. Y Mills Gardens LLC, Y Mills Gardens Lane, Y Mills, 5th Election District, tax map 67, Parcel 4, 98 acres. The Queen Anne's County Agricultural Preservation Advisory Board has given favorable recommendations to the county commissioners in the submission of the agricultural preservation easement applications. Direct any comments or questions regarding agricultural preservation to Donna Landis Smith at the Queen Anne's County Soil Conservation Office, 211 East Water Street, Centerville, Maryland, 21617-443-988-4178. To comply with the governor's proclamation declaring state of emergency to Maryland. To minimize the person-to-person spread of COVID, we ask that citizens participate in public testimony by one of the following formats: email at qac.org/public comment, live video, www.qac.org, public comment during live county meeting, audio only, and to call the following numbers. All hearing sites are accessible to individuals with disabilities. Sign language interpreters, assistive listening systems will be available for individuals with hearing impairments. Please contact Beverly Churchill at 410-758-4406 or TDD 410-758-2126, 7 days prior to the hearing date if the above is needed. Queen Anne's County Board of Commissioners, Margie Huck, Clerk to the Commissioners, and it ran in the Record Observer May the 7th and May the 14th.
Okay.
All right.
Do you need to call any,
Do we need to make this
anybody wants to testify? How's that?
Do we have anybody here?
I think anybody signed up. I don't think there's anybody out there.
for purposes of discussion?
Close it.
I think we can see if
She's going to check to see if it's
maybe some testing. I don't think they signed up.
No one signed up.
Anybody online?
We have Jay Falsett online. Jay, if you want to make a comment at this time during this part, you can go ahead and unmute yourself and turn your video on. If not, he did send an email that we can read during the press and public comment. But this is for that. This is for that part. Oh, okay, cool. Would you like? It looks like he's reading for this. Would you like to hear that?
Is it for
email?
this? Yeah, go ahead and read
I
it.
believe so, yeah. Dear Commissioners, thank you for your continued support and commitment to the land preservation in Queen Anne's County. Queen Anne's County farm and forest lands are some of the most unique in Maryland, and preserving them should remain among the county's highest priorities. Sincerely, Jay Falsett, Executive Director.
All right. With that, we'll close the press and public comment.
So I've got a question.
Absolutely.
There is 4 pieces of property here.
Yes.
Is this all that we could fund, or is this first go round? I mean, where does this sit in the queue?
These are 4 new applicants.
Okay.
They've never applied before. Anytime that you have new applicants, you're required to have a public hearing because you're using public monies. We have 15 applications that will be submitted. These are 4 of the 15. The other 11 have previously submitted, and we've had public hearings for them in the past. This past year, we were able to fund 1. We only received $1.3 million from the state. All revenue was down, pretty much. And it took a little over $1.1 million to preserve a 273-acre farm. We may get more properties in the second round offers, but they don't get announced until July.
Okay.
So we still have the potential. I feel pretty confident we should get a few more.
So this will push you up to, you said 15 that are applying?
Yes,
for
this is fiscal year 22.
Excuse me?
This is fiscal year 22 applications. They will go in June, and we will hear probably around March of 2022 how much funding we'll have to spend on these 15 applications.
So, for instance, 12 of them don't get selected. Do they have to reapply next year, or they just stay?
They can, yes.
They
Those
can?
11 other people that were in the queue applied last year.
Okay.
That did not get funded.
But did they have to go through the whole process, or did they just tell you, leave us in there, or?
They just have to re-sign the same application. They can leave their bid price the same,
Okay.
or they can change it, whatever they, choose to do. But they don't have to go through new pictures, getting paperwork together. Basically, they just re-sign an updated application. Yes.
But what works against them is these new people coming into the queue,
Yeah.
they rate higher. So even if you were in
Yes.
that 11, one of these may hop overall.
But it all depends on what they're seeking financially too, so.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Their qualification, they may come in and they're a slam dunk, and they'll move ahead of those 11 that may
That's
have been
correct.
sitting in the queue for
Because
5
their
years.
initial scoring is based on their soil types and other attributes of the farm. The bid price doesn't happen until after the farms are appraised, then they get reshuffled according to
It's all about
discount
what you got.
asking price. Yeah, so you have to be a little strategic with your asking price.
But that's when you come back to us in March and go, you know, for an extra 400,000, I can get you X, Y, and Z.
That would be correct.
Okay. Just looking forward to that, you coming in.
Yes, I always come in with a smile on my face,
We
right?
can buy a million for 400.
That's right. Very
Yes.
good. Awesome.
Yes.
I have to say, looking at these maps, they looked like they were particularly under threat of development too, all of them, that they were all up against other
The ones off the
development. They
Churchill
weren't
Road,
off in the
Yeah.
woods somewhere, so.
Yeah, there are several of them in here that have,
Yeah.
well, Mr. Brayton's farm, it's an old subdivision. I mean, it was back from the 70s, but, you know, the development pressure is still there.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. Yep.
Awesome.
Good.
All right, someone will make a motion, we'll go ahead and vote on it.
I move to approve the 4 new Mouth properties for easement applications to be submitted to the Mouth Board of Trustees for approval and appraisal.
Second.
Motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you, Donna.
Good to see you, Donna. Thank you. All right, Commissioners, our next presenter is, if you want to turn to tab number 6, item 2, page 20, we have, I don't see, is Catherine Dilly here? This is,
There she is. There.
is she here? Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. I took her mask off. Nice. Come on up. Yep, and Audra, is that Sherbanier?
Yes.
Sherbanier, okay.
Thank you. Yes.
That's what he gets paid to do, figure out names.
Right. He practiced.
This is for Midshore Behavioral Health, and we do have, this is an action item as well, Commissioner, so please.
Well, good evening. I'm Katie Dilly. I'm the Executive Director at Midshore Behavioral Health. And with me this evening is Audra Chabanier, who is a behavioral health coordinator. With her special population is the child and adolescent population, but she's also representing Queen Anne's County as a coordinator assigned to the county. So thank you for having us this evening. This is our annual presentation, just check-in updates, as well as our hope is to walk away this evening with a continued endorsement to serve as your core service agency into fiscal year 22. We like to come before you during the month of May because it is Mental Health Awareness Month. So it's complimentary that we are here to talk about the wellness and behavioral health and mental health activities and support that we're bringing into the county. So thank you again for having us this evening. And of course, if you have any questions, we will take those, no problem. We have provided you with a packet of information we're going to go through and just pick out some highlights to discuss this evening. And certainly, if you have questions along the way, we're happy to support those as well. So we always like to review our mission and vision of the organization just as a standard part of our presentation. So the mission of Midshore Behavioral Health is to continually improve the provision of behavioral health services for residents of Caroline, Dorchester, Kent, Queen Anne's, and Talbot counties through effective coordination of care and collaboration with consumers, their natural support systems, our providers, and our community at large. And our vision at Midshore Behavioral Health is a rural healthcare delivery system that is both clinically and culturally competent. This system will ensure access, have a community focus, be cost effective, and be integrated to serve our community as a whole. So on this first page, we've overviewed just all of the different services that are primarily grant funded that come into the region. So I don't need to go through each one of those, but of course, if there's one that stands out, if you have questions, please feel free to ask. Over the last couple of years, we've really had the pleasure of working more collaboratively with our local health departments, which embody our local addictions authorities. So this past year, we embarked on writing our second annual plan for the region to address the behavioral health needs of the community with all 5 health departments here in the region. So we worked collaboratively with Maggie Thomas, who's your local addictions authority director here in Queen Anne's County to address the needs for the coming year, as well as work to achieve the goals that we laid out for fiscal year 21. There's no doubt that we had to do a little pivoting this year with making sure that we could still meet the goals that we set forth a year ago with COVID, but I think we've been really successful with still bringing programming into the region and new resources despite the odds of the pandemic. So, and for individuals that are engaging and coming into a recovery house, a lot of times they're just
Can't afford it.
leaving, a residential treatment facility, and they're not in a place where they're working again and really reintegrating themselves into other activities of daily living that would bring in an income. So having that reimbursement model's really supportive.
Good.
So that is positive, very positive. Of course, we continue to work to expand our crisis response system that's serving the Eastern Shore. Midshore Behavioral Health is the monitor for all 9 counties of crisis services, which is a large responsibility, but it's the same vendor. So Affiliated Sante Group is your provider of crisis services here in the region, and they continue to grow in their capacity to offer 24/7 services, as well as specialized services for our child and adolescent population. We're looking at some new funding to bring on even more capacity to serve our youth and young adults that are in crisis. I will say to their compliment, the pandemic did not slow them down. They continued to respond in person, of course, safely with precautions, but that did not stop during the pandemic, which was a critical resource to maintain because, the pandemic coupled with the isolation and mental health needs and families being together or households being together that aren't historically spending that much time with each other, there was some new and different situations, I think, that emerged out of that. So we were very grateful that our mobile crisis teams were able to meet those needs at any point in the day. So that's one thing I want to make sure that you all are aware of. I think Audra is going to tell you about a new resource that's come in, also funded through state opioid response dollars that's specific to our adolescent population.
So I am super excited about the Adolescent Clubhouse model that actually went live April 1st. We have a north that is covering 4 of the counties in the Midshore, including Kent, Queen Anne, Talbot, and Caroline, and then a south that's covering Dorchester County. I don't know if anybody was able to visit Minery's Dream Open House last Saturday, their 1-year anniversary. Minery's Dream Alliance is who our contract is with, and the exciting piece of this is it's targeting 12 to 17-year-olds who are at risk of or have an opioid use disorder. So it's also a prevention program. And they're partnering with Washington College, they're partnering with a track and field group, they're partnering with the YMCA. They have a podcast studio they're working on getting up and running. They are looking to purchase the property of the VFW in Chestertown, down on the Chester River, which it's an amazing piece of property. Hopefully we'll be able to have kayaking and canoeing to really be able to get some life skills. They have a kitchen there, availability to, they're going to have different life skill classes, parenting classes, social skills groups. They're going to have an LGBTQ group and multiple other groups, lots of activities collaborating across the 5 counties of the Midshore. And I believe in April, they were able to serve 5 youth. That was their very first month, so 5 youth is huge. The really exciting thing about Minery's Dream Alliance, it's Paul Tu and Doncella Wilson are 2 of the board members, and they have lots of connections for collaborating across the 5 counties of the Midshore. They also have relationships with a lot of kids, so they're easily able to get them in. We didn't have to wait for them to find the children. They're able to find these 12 to 17-year-olds and are doing some really exciting things. The youth have named their group Club Fear. Okay, Face Everything and Rise is what FEAR stands for. So Face Everything and Rise. And we're just super excited about this funding. It's taken a while to get it live. We started working on it with BHA in July and are really excited to see what comes from this. There were a couple other little things I just wanted to highlight. Our Healthy Transitions program run out of Crossroads serves between 25 and 30 young people, and I want to say it's 19 to 24-year-old young adults who don't have to have an adult mental health diagnosis, which so often, once you cross over at 19 years old, you have to have an adult, so a serious diagnosis, whether bipolar or any of the other serious mental health diagnoses. With this grant through SAMHSA, they don't have to have an adult diagnosis. They can have ADHD, they can have anxiety, depression, and they are also working to teach them life skills, supported employment, supported education, transitional housing, and I have been able to see a number of the kids, I call them all kids because they're younger than my kids, young adults, and the gains that they've been able to make through these programs. So I'm super excited about that. The other thing I wanted to just highlight is our child, adolescent, and young adult work group is very vibrant. One of the things that we have worked on for the last year is high priority has been with our school system partners, our mental health coordinators from at least 4 of the counties attend regularly and collaborate a lot. What's working? What's not working? You know, we're all concerned about getting these young people back in school and getting them caught back up to where they need to be. And our work group, I just love it. It's an hour and a half, and usually we go overtime because people are collaborating. Oh, you've done this and this has worked. Okay, then we're going to try this. And like I said, you know, our priority is to make sure that every child has the access to the services that they need so that they can be resilient, regain where they were, get back into school so that, of course, they can be a productive adult and a part of our communities.
So how long is there, I know it's brand new, but are you seeing, are you staying there for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months? What's the length?
For which one? For the adolescent clubhouses?
The 12 to 17s.
Yes. So we don't know yet. There is no time limit.
Okay.
So they can stay, and I don't know that we know exactly how many years. We don't have a definite on how many years at the moment we have funding for.
Well, we're hoping that there's the Eastern Shore up until we applied for the clubhouse funding. There's never been a clubhouse model on the shore. There's 5 on the Western Shore, and several that have been well established for 20, 25 years. The model's empirically based. There's a lot of evidence around the success of getting young adults engaged in that sort of supportive setting that's non-traditional outside of where they would get mental health services. So it's encouraged to have it be sort of a provider that's not giving them direct services. Nevertheless, we're hoping that we will be able to sustain this funding, starting with the state opioid response grant and moving them over into federal block grant, which is more permanent. We're actually, as of today, in negotiations around sustainability planning for that. So we're very hopeful for the continued support. We're also looking at some capital grant opportunities to get them some more brick and mortar locations throughout the region, so they can have established locations, ideally in more than one county in each location. So it's very exciting.
I can't imagine any of the young people dropping out quickly, right, because they are having a lot of fun. There's a mentoring group that's also working with them, and I had the opportunity to meet the couple who's in charge of the mentoring group, and I asked the gentleman if they have problems getting male mentors, because so often in traditional mentoring programs, that's a problem. And they have a lot of males in the program. And he said, "Are you kidding? We only have 1 woman."
Really?
Like, wow, we need to know what you're doing to get the men involved. So I can't imagine that they're going to drop out anytime too quickly, because they do a lot of fun stuff. They're going to be doing field trips, all kinds of figuring out how to do podcasts so that they can start there, and then they'll have those skills to be able to take with them. There's just so many cool things that they're working on.
Good.
I wanted to touch on a couple other items. I know that Audra has 1 or 2 other Queen Anne specific things. One thing that we started back in early September of last year was we have a Bay Bridge initiative group that out of Midshore Behavioral Health. I said, there was a lot of visibility last summer with incidents on the bridge involving individuals that were unfortunately either successfully completed a suicide attempt or were presenting as trying to attempt to take their life. And I know the unfortunate part about social media is that it became very public, some comments that were made that were just disappointing, to say the least. And of course, folks reach into organizations like Midshore Behavioral Health and say, well, what are you guys doing about this? I said, well, not anything actively, but we can start doing something. So we did. So I reached out to our Behavioral Health Administration, our Office of Suicide Prevention, as well as our peer authority over in Anne Arundel County, since we both, essentially have equal responsibility with supporting crisis on the bridge. Interestingly enough, this was the first time that we had a real relationship or conversation with our MDOT folks that are over the activities on the bridge and help manage critical incidents. We now meet every 6 weeks. The leadership team that manages the bridge, their critical incident response team, all the individuals that are there doing the incident management, our crisis response system that serves the Queen Anne's County side of the bridge, and our crisis response system that serves the Anne Arundel side of the bridge, and our Behavioral Health Administration. And we have seen tremendous improvement with response and communication and how folks are handled and supported and have a warm handoff, or as we call it, a hot handoff, either back to their county of origin, get them engaged in treatment, hospitalization, continued support of the family members or support persons that are bearing witness to what's going on. I'm hopeful that we're moving in the right direction, at least with providing support for individuals in need that find themselves on the bridge. And of course, our team members that are serving them, it's been tremendous to see that partnership and that the line of communication just opening up has really enhanced quality, and I think how we're trying to support situations that do arise. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention, because last summer was, unusual. And so we felt very compelled to make sure that we were addressing that from a public health response as well. One thing that we sort of thought about and reflected about is just an awareness campaign. Of course, we were right in the thick of the virus, and so we were able to secure some funding to bring a suicide prevention and wellness initiative that's, of course, virtual, that we've secured funding to have Kevin Hines, who's very well known nationally and internationally as a survivor of suicide. He attempted to take his life off the Golden Gate Bridge about 20 years ago. He now has made it his life's work to public speak and storytell and instill his messaging of hope. And so we've been working with him ever since probably late November. And we have a 7-part film series. We're moving into our 5th film this Thursday, where it's with a veterans focus. We've done different populations. We started out with our first responder group that have been very much impacted by the coronavirus and the stress. We've had a youth focus, an older adult focus. But this Thursday, if you're interested, we can follow up with materials to participate in our veterans focus. That's this Thursday evening from 5:30 to 7:30. Then we have our final part, which is men's mental health on June 10th. So that really all spurred out of the discussion around, well, what can we do to get the messaging out around suicide prevention and wellness, and with the Bay Bridge incidents, and Kevin Hines really came to mind. I said, he's the face of hope, and really has been such a gift to bring, not just to the shore, but the whole state has been participating. It's been wonderful. So
it sounds like that you have a lot going on. And,
absolutely.
And you're only in front of us. You're only in front of us once a year.
Sure.
And I would encourage my fellow commissioners to consider having you at least come in every 6 months.
Sure, no,
Just
we would love it.
because of
I know we have
of
so much.
what's going on.
We could be here all night, and I know we don't want to take your whole evening up. But yes,
That's
I
the
think
reason
that would be.
You should probably
that
be
would
here
be-
at least twice a year.
Sure.
If not more.
We can do that. I don't know if Audra, if you had any other pieces that you wanted to highlight, and then we'll close. We thank you for your time.
I wanted to just highlight, there's a partnership right now with Rally Cares that has a bedroom, a teen's bedroom set up, that we're doing a virtual presentation at each of the county schools. Queen Anne's County was a week or two ago. This week, is it tomorrow? Today is Tuesday.
tomorrow.
It's tomorrow, sorry. It's tomorrow. Where all the middle school and high school families have gotten flyers for it, gotten email blasts for it. Rally Cares has partnered with us, and we're hoping to do a live event this fall with them as well, trying to, again, promote awareness, what to look for, how to know, what are the signs, what does this mean? So many parents come to us after the fact and say, I had no idea, and we want to help them to have the idea so that they can find it, catch it early. Was there anything else that jumped out that you think we needed to highlight? I think that's probably. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. I'll entertain the motion, Phil.
Sure. I'll move that Commission President Chris Corcorino sign the Midshore Behavioral Health Corps Service Agreement for fiscal year 2022.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? 5-0, motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank
and
you.
Thank you for all the work that you're doing and helping.
Sure, and we will
We look forward to seeing you in 6
take
months.
note to come back.
Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Thank you both. We'll see you in 6 months, and we'll get that scheduled right away.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
All right, Commissioners, item number 3. Actually, we don't have anything in the book, but we do have the opioid awareness poster contest next, and Julie Kelly is maybe here. Or is this going to be a Zoom?
No.
They're up there, right?
They're here. Okay, great. All right.
Is this Warren, are you in this too?
Warren's out there.
And Warren? All right, come on in.
Thank you, Commissioners. Our troop is coming in.
Okay, great.
Had a lot of competition this year, and
Are you going to present, Warren? You can sit up here?
you
Okay.
can sit down.
Yeah, sure, that's right, yeah.
Where do you want them, Warren? They're all behind you.
Why don't we have them come in front of us?
Yeah, we'll come right. I told
Come
them
up.
to come right over here, and I'll introduce them.
I want to make sure we see them on the screen.
So they can all see you, and you can hold up your poster and then set it back down because they like to see your artwork.
There we go.
Okay. There you are. And as soon as they've seen it, you can put it down so they can look at you.
Actually, come around this side. Come around this side and you can
Stand in front
look
of us
back
and
towards
face Warren. You have to stare, you have to look at Warren, but
Yeah.
it won't be for
You want to
too
put your
long.
backs to us, that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. That way, Warren, while you're talking.
And then you can
I have-
see yourselves up
I
on
have
the screen.
already
That's what
seen
everybody
all
else is
these.
seeing back home.
There you go.
Excellent.
Okay. You guys identify yourself when I call your name. From Kent Island High School. The opioid poster awareness contest, by the way, this is our 3rd year for that. This year we had a really lot of applicants and the work was really good. But from Kent Island High School, the winner was Alyssa Scalia. All right. Queen Anne's County High School, Rebecca McGrary. Ta-da. Mattapique Middle School, Olivia Valenti. Close? Okay. Suttersville Middle School, Jamie Baldwin. Centerville Middle School, Clarissa Fransconi. and just came in, and I have not met, Maryland Juarez. Congratulations, you guys. I would like to tell the commissioners that the high school winners are receiving driver's education classes with Trax Driving School. And I'm not going to get up. Here you are. If you guys would come up and get your certificate, the 2 high school students. And the middle school students are all getting a $300 Amazon gift card. If you guys would come up and get your card. And there's some other things in here, and they're all labeled the middle school. And these 2 things are labeled for the high school. Now, here's what you have to do in order to earn them. No, those are yours, and you can grab them on the way out. The prizes were donated, and Commissioner Moran knows because he was sitting there. They just mentioned that they're having the poster contest, and there's a tradition of trying to give the best prizes that we can. And so the Drug Free Coalition members there donated $3,000. Economy Tree was a big giver, and Mission House in Kent County. And Trax Advantage Driving Academy, which is here, gave us a really good price on the driving school. So that is cool. And again, I've said it 6 times, but saying it in front of the county commissioners carries a lot more weight. We would like to thank all of you for your creative skills that you utilized to produce these graphic messages. You'll be happy to know your names will be announced on WCEI 96.7. I think that's in Easton. Your pictures will be in the Shore Update, the Bay Times, and the Record Observer, and of course, Channel 7. You can watch yourselves on YouTube. And the best part, which you didn't seem that impressed with, what I was. We got lots of copies. You guys have signed a release for everything, and we're placing those posters in all the middle schools and high schools in the county next year as part of QAGO's program. Well done. And now there's one other thing I wanted to present Julie Kiley. She's probably taking pictures. There she is right there. Stand up and see how tall you are. And I can say that as chairman, I did nothing. She did everything. And one other thing about Julie, she works for the Board of Education. She jumps out of perfectly good airplanes on purpose. Recreational FD. Thank you all very, very much. And we would dearly love to have a picture of you guys with the winners.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You want to go around? You want to stay up here? Yeah. Come on, Mr. Wilson.
That way they can see the picture still.
That's suitable for framing.
I think the one thing that I'm excited the most about is that these posters are going to be shared all over the county. That's going to be the best part.
And we'll have them sign them, if they're okay with that.
They already have the names on them. It's already been printed. George Harvey did it.
We ready? Thank you all, Commissioner, very much.
Ladies, congratulations. Congratulations. Job well done.
Yep, thank you all.
Thank you all.
Great posters. Okay, commissioners, moving on. We have Heather Finelli and Katie Clendaniels from our Economic Development and Tourism, and they have a marketing update here for us this evening. Next, and I think they have a presentation they're going to pull up. Yes, there we are on the big screen. So come on up. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
I don't think we're going to be able to top that. Those were really,
those are
really talented.
pretty incredible.
Good.
It's all downhill from here. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Whoops.
Thank you very much.
We promised to be short and sweet, and we do appreciate your time. We wanted to make sure to come before you tonight to give you an update on our marketing efforts. Katie Clendaniel joined us in December, and she has been going at it, doing some great things with our marketing. And we've really started to see the impacts of that, and we're just so happy to have her. So I brought her here to give you an update of what we're doing, and then after that I wanted to show you a quick tool on business attraction that we're working on. So Katie?
Thank you. So we have a little PowerPoint for you up here. I find that it just helps me to summarize, and we love to use beautiful photographs of our county. So there are 4 key projects that have defined the last 6 months, I would say. So the branding, marketing, strategy development, which we've reached out to a number of you to potentially participate in. Our visitor's guide, our marketing and advertising activities, and our website and product development. So the last time I was here, we were approving our selected contractor for the branding and marketing strategy development, and that really came out of wanting to create a better definition of our messaging for the county. And these are some examples of the diversity of graphics and messaging that was coming out of the county over the last few years. So for us and marketing and messaging, it's a little all over the place. So the branding and marketing was really an effort that Heather started writing the USDA grant and selecting Chop 10 Communications to move forward to help us really define from the ground up through a very defined process from the people what that would look like going forward, both for our department and potentially beyond that. So over the last few months, we've been very busy with this project, and we conducted 4 focus groups, several key individual interviews, and we also did a community survey, which was out for 2 weeks, and that was launched through our social media, email, and we shared that with everyone who participated otherwise in other aspects. There were 308 responses to the community online survey. There was a 63% completion rate. It was open for 2 weeks. Most of our responses came in the first 5 days. The survey was geared towards visitors, business owners, employees of Queen Anne's County businesses, primary and secondary home residents, and the survey was segmented to focus on those individual audiences. The survey was also geared towards the characteristics and helping us define the personality of the county and articulating the key assets and challenges that the county may have. The timeline to finish this project, right now we have a draft platform in front of us, branding platform, and a few initial concepts, but they are not quite ready to launch to the public yet. So we are hoping to see some of the initial creative come out of that very soon. So we anticipate ultimately being able to launch this in middle to late July. The other major project that we're undertaking right now is a new visitors or destination guide. So the last ones were produced in 2018 and again a new one in 2019. This is anticipated to be able to launch in July of this year, so just in another month. And so the guide will ultimately change from what we have produced in the past. It'll be content and image driven. It'll be inspirational, inspiring people and trip ideas and why they would want to come to Queen Anne's County. What are the areas that distinguish Queen Anne's County from other areas? And we want to help direct them to local experiences and places and help to tell our local story. So these are some examples of, we're working with Chesapeake Bay Media, and they are producing visitor guides for other communities like Annapolis, Dorchester, Talbot County, and they are broadening that reach. There's a lot of benefits that come with working with them. They have their own media reach, which we are able to piggyback on top of our individual reach. So the distribution, we are increasing the number of printed copies that we have produced in the past. We will have more here for our county to distribute. In the past, we have not distributed very well locally to our local hotels. So once people are here, connecting them with things to do and places to see and places to eat. We are able to, like I mentioned, piggyback onto the Chesapeake Bay media subscribers. It will be directly mailed to over 12,000 print media subscribers that they have. It'll go out in their summer issue, which will be the special weekend issue. And then we use a third-party distributor as well to help us get outside of our local drive market to travel destinations. So RV dealers, motorcycle dealers, AAA offices, travel agencies, to help get our guide in those places where travelers are going to get information, or, you know, our travel destinations. And then we'll also work with our local Maryland State Welcome Centers. There'll be a digital guide component, and which of course Chesapeake Bay Media will also help to distribute to their followers, their email subscribers, and then to ours. So these are our draft editorial content areas. I won't go into a great amount of detail, but these are here for you to get a better understanding of some of the content that's being written into the guide. So it's very content driven, magazine-like versus listing businesses. And marketing and advertising. So this has been a key activity for us, as it normally is, but with the special circumstances of COVID. So we normally get a State of Maryland marketing grant, which we administer, and we're able to match that or use that 100% in certain areas. So it can be a little tricky, and we have to gauge our marketing around what their requirements are to take advantage of that. But in addition to that, we also have special COVID-related funds that each have their own nuance. So we've been kind of rolling with that as they come in, just like the county has with all of the other additional funding for other activities. So that's kept us on our toes. These are our 2021 focus areas. So making sure we're creating original content, utilizing high quality images and photography. We are now in the process of growing our photography assets so that we can freshen up our image. Restarting email marketing, which is now happening. Anyone can go to our visitqueenannes.com website and subscribe to receive emails now about local communications. Making the website easier to navigate, appealing to the consumer, and being a source of information for original content about what to do in the area. We've also been actively working to tighten up our graphics. So really unifying all the graphics that we're putting out so that we don't have one product that looks like one thing and something that looks like another. It's very image driven. So these are some of the funding sources that we use to market the county that I mentioned. So these are some of the digital ad products that are out right now, also some outdoor. As you can see, this is very much about, again, unifying our image. These are some of our print marketing creatives. So we have really been trying to pick up on the tremendous assets that we have in terms of craft beverages here. It really is special, I think, to have 8 breweries, wineries, and distilleries in one county. Our outdoor, especially paddling, birding, are things that we're trying to elevate. So our website, these are just some basic statistics based on 2020 numbers, which we know that 2020 was a funky year, but the website only launched in September of 2019, so we do follow metrics based on that starting point because that's all we have right now to work with, but to see how well we're doing based on visitor traffic to the website. So we look at some of these stats, annual number of individual users. We have over 24,000 individual visitors to our website. 12.6 or close to 13% are returning, so they come back for a second or third visit. 87% are new. Our annual sessions are 32,000, so that reflects that returning number. The number of sessions per user is about 1.5. And we have over 67, almost 68,000 individual page views because we have more than one page on our website. So some of the things that we've done recently with the website is to make sure that we're creating original written content. So it's a source of original information that people want to come to the website and read about or hear about or learn about. So we have, we had a blog functionality which was buried in the website that is now easily accessible from the homepage. And the same thing with local events and local happenings. So anyone in the community that has an event happening, we can get your event up onto the website as a source of things that people might want to go and do. These are our social media priorities. I will say Instagram is the hottest ticket right now. It's our biggest growth area, and when we look at what's happening with the state of Maryland, you know, Instagram is really an important travel inspirational platform. And so our numbers also reflect that. We have a really great person working on social media, and she's the one who's getting the content out on a daily basis, and she's doing an exceptional job. So our priorities for social media are to integrate with our state marketing campaign calendar. So we're working with the state to know what their calendar looks like so we can work with them, and cross tag, promoting local events and happenings. Events drive traffic. So people are very interested in events, and Queen Anne's County was very fortunate to host the boat show, which was a big deal for the state opening after COVID. We're sharing travel articles. We are leveraging Instagram as a travel inspiration-oriented platform, and we're trying to stay up to date on new changes that are constantly happening with social media. So another important component of what we're focused on is product development. So really the key to this is working to support our local partner organizations and destinations to help them in the areas that they need in terms of capacity or print media, or, you know, so we are trying to reach out as much as possible right now. So I have been out of the office quite a bit. Heather will tell you it's a little bit painful maybe, but trying to get out in front of people as much as possible, understand what their needs are, and then figure out how we can help support that or help fill that or work with them. And then the same thing for us and our assets and our materials. You know, where are the gaps in our materials, and how do we help connect the dots? And we try to make sure we do that as efficiently as possible. So that's me.
We're real tickled to have Katie, as I mentioned before, and we've come a long way despite COVID and having you know, closures and being shut down or not being able to utilize all of our assets. So I feel that we did really well despite the restrictions that we had, and we're moving in the right direction. And I feel over the next year it's going to be great. We're going to take off, and I don't want to take too much of more of your time, but I did want to share a tool. Can I have that? The Upper Shore Regional Council funded a data story for us. Do you have that?
Yeah, I'm bringing it up right now.
That was, they funded Kent County and Queen Anne's County and Cecil County. Each one has their own data story, and so we worked with the company to develop our tool that we're going to use for business attraction, and you'll see in a minute why it's really nice. It's an interactive tool that we're going to link to our website. We're going to use it in our print media through a QR code, and you can see here. So and we're also going to send it to anyone that's interested in bringing their business over here, or I don't even know how to do this. They're going to scroll forward, but if you stop here, it's an interactive mapping tool, as well as you can find out stats and kind of move out of this tool if you so choose and go to our website. But it focuses on accessibility, the fact that we are pretty much accessible anywhere up and down the East Coast within 1 day, which is also where the majority of our population is in the United States, so that you think of that, the number of people that a business located here could get to, as well as far as drive times is pretty great. We also talk about the different businesses that are located here and the type of workers that we have here. You can see we focus on a diverse residential workforce. Chesapeake College, Reed Millwork, Paul Reed, Federal Resources, all 5 of those are different in what they offer and the employees that work there. Frios, can you scroll down some more? Thank you. And this just tells you where they're located. And this is just some more visuals on the diversity of where people work, where our workforce. I wish I could move it myself. And you can see the proximity. This is just some of the major metro areas that we're close to. DC, 45 minutes. Baltimore, 45 minutes. Philadelphia, 75 minutes. New York, about 2 hours. Next, you'll see that these are some of the attractive tax structure that we have, where the majority of the places in Queen Anne's County does not have personal property tax. So that's rare. When you look at the state, so that's a great option. We're the second lowest county tax in the state of Maryland. The average cost per acre for industrial land is about $225,000 and $7 average rent. Now that's on warehouse industrial, not on retail. But those are great things when somebody's looking at the money side of things. When they're considering moving their business here, we have some incentives with the enterprise zone and opportunity zone. They can click through that and find out more information. We find that a good portion of, or we feel that those that are looking to move here are looking to move for a quality of life. So one of the things we point out is what you can do when you're here, whether it's for your employees, whether it's because you want to move here. Outdoor activities, and you can link through to find out more information. If you scroll down to the very end, one of the things I wanted to point out that I thought was kind of interesting to see, keep going down, please. This is all interactive tool. One more map. Yeah, you can see here, and it's kind of hard to see without seeing there you go. You can see the legend there. It talks about where the workers are located, or the business type with employee counts, and you can see, just for example, public administration around Centerville would make sense. Healthcare near Queenstown makes sense. Utilities, transportation, those that are in the construction fields are up in the North County area. I found that to be interesting. And useful for somebody looking to move their business here, of where their labor is coming from and what the skill set is. Can you scroll down some more, please? This is another cool thing to look at. Yes, this is it. The educational attainment. We have a highly educated workforce. Although the majority of them are working across the bridge, it's still interesting to see how many, if you scroll down just a little bit more, you'll be able to see the breakdown of where they live. And then also as far as household incomes, which is important to a retailer. So if a retailer or a restaurant were moving here, they'd want to see who's living in the area as far as what their income level is, what their education level is, how close they are to a major traffic thoroughfare. And so this tool provides all that information, and it's interactive. And our goal, again, is to use it to make sure that those that are looking to move into the area, that they really know what we're all about, to be able to dive deep, get some information, and then hopefully reach out to us so that we can further catch them and bring them in and seal the deal. So it is a great tool, and I wish I could show you more, but I'll share you the link so that you can go in and move around yourself. We really like, this is another one that I wanted to show that was kind of cool, is if you go down a little bit further, there was a heat map that shows where everybody's driving to work to. A little bit more. There you go, see that? I thought that was in commuter destinations of county residents. We know that a good portion of our workforce drives outside of the area. And you can see, I mean, some are, the orange spots are more, a larger number of people work there. But you can see along 5301, we know that our Chesapeake Bay Center over there to the right has quite a bit, but you can see a pocket in Annapolis, you can see the pocket in DC and in the Baltimore area. So I just thought that that was very interesting to see where they were working and where they're going. So that's really it. I just wanted to give you an update of what we're doing. We're very busy and very thankful that we have the opportunities that we have, and we really feel like not only do we have the ability to attract tourists and people that are coming to stay and spend their money and go home, we also have the opportunity to attract great businesses that can move over here, as well as focus on our existing businesses and provide them opportunities to grow as well. So it's one of the great things that I love is, you know, just about every day we get a phone call or an email of someone looking to grow their business, start their business here, need financing because they want to buy a piece of equipment, whatever it is. We definitely see a lot of growth, and it's nice. Anybody have any questions?
When do you think you'll have your, you might have said it already and I missed it, but when do you think you'll have your rebranding all wrapped up and ready for?
July. We'll come to you before we do that for approval, but hopefully July.
July? Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Right?
Yeah, hopefully it's public in July. So we don't, I mean, the goal was to have it by the end of June, but we just don't believe in forcing a square peg through a round hole either. In turn, we want to make sure we're moving at the right speed, but we also want to have a nice new product. So
it would probably help if the commissioners get her feedback quicker.
I did not say that. I mean, we got a lot of good feedback off of our draft because we do, I think, you know, everyone wants to understand the nuances because that's important. You know, it's about Queen Anne's as a place and what does that mean? So, and you can't sell other people on your community if you don't know who you are and you can't define it. So that's the stage we're in right now.
Well, I think you guys are doing an excellent job. I mean, and this is tons of information that you guys have put together, not just for the presentation here, but for people who are interested in doing business in Queen Anne's County. I think it's a tremendous amount of resources and quite a toolbox you've created for them. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Heather. Thanks, Katie. Great work, yeah. All right, Commissioners, item number 5 on our book, our feature presentation for the night is the adoption of our fiscal 22 budget. We have a resolution to establish the fiscal year 2022 annual budget for Queen Anne's County. So we have our new Budget and Finance Director, Nicole Pepper, here tonight. So we did make one change. The resolution on your desk is a little bit different than the one in the book. We had to make one late change. I think we all know that the Maintenance of Effort certificate came in from the Board of Education late last week, so we had to adjust that so that the budget would include funding for the Board of Education Maintenance of Effort certificate. So we made that adjustment to the annual budget.
Which was how much?
The amount is $1,525,830 above the effort that we funded them last year. So we had originally proposed $1 more, which was the hold harmless amount from fiscal 21 to 22, but the MOE certificate came in much higher. It was kind of the worst case scenario. They required us to use the 3-year average for enrollment calculations, and the escalator was applied to the last year's amount. So that, you know, increased our requirement considerably. Obviously.
And the hold harmless, how much did they get for the $1 over initially? They got 3.1, right?
3.1 million.
So they got a total of $4.6 million over last year without CARES money.
And they also got their separate CARES funding that
I said
outside of us.
sans the 6.7 they got for the CARES. They got 4.6 million in operational for this year.
So we're over 10 million more,
right,
when you put all this together that they received.
Enough said.
That was the only change that we had from the last presentation, was the additional amount for the Board of Ed, which we funded with fund balance. Other than that, everything else was consistent, so there was no other changes.
And just remember, gentlemen, this raises our Kerwin baseline next year.
It does raise it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we will no longer be on Kerwin, we will be on our own Kerwin.
Kerwin Plus.
Kerwin Plus, yeah. And I think, how many, was it 4 counties, actually, that got bumped?
I don't,
All the counties, you mean?
Yeah. Was it
I don't know
4?
how many counties exactly got.
I know some went down. I thought it was 4 that actually got considerable, like, kind of like what we got.
Really?
So, yeah. A lot of them are status quo. But again, it all comes down to that average. We have a flat average, no real fluctuations. You know, Kent County went way down. They've had huge student fluctuations, so they benefit from that to some extent. We're kind of flat. But we'll see what next year does. If we don't get 337 students back next year, that average is going to go down. So.
Well, on the upside with, you know, the improvements that are being made and restrictions being lifted, our students should be back in school full-time, 5 days a week. And with this extra money they're getting from CARES and everything, you know, we should have an excellent year for the kids.
But Jack,
yeah, I don't think you're going to see, I mean, I think a lot of people I think it's going to take a while to get 337 kids back in the system, honestly.
I mean, to me, even if they don't get 337 kids back, they just go back and do the same thing they did this year.
Right. Right. That's what I'm saying. And I honestly, I still think they're gonna take if they're not getting the money, they're just gonna say, okay, let's raise the escalator.
Right.
Okay, you guys aren't, let's raise your escalator. Let's get you to where we want you at. Right. So right now we're being mandated by the state, basically where we're gonna be at. And it's not a student population anymore. All those things they're really not.
They changed the rules.
Yeah, exactly what they did. The same thing that was the fear of most.
Next goalpost on our budget instead of the state ponying up their extra money to take care of it.
It's beyond frustration.
It is. It actually is.
It's actually anger now.
But
I mean, 10 million, if you calculate in that money from this.
All right, well.
And that's the good news.
I will say that our budget and finance team did a great job trying to predict the Board of Education funding this year. I think we offered what we thought was the interpretation of the various laws. And I think, commissioners mentioned that, the rules were adjusted slightly this year. We didn't anticipate them using the 3-year averages. That came in late, and usually we get that MOE certificate in March, typically.
Right, correct.
During session. It came in, just last week, so we were sort of, we didn't have much opportunity to repeal or, dispute that. So that's where we are.
By design, I think.
By design.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Funny how that works out. Okay.
All right, I move to adopt the FY 2022 operating and capital budgets.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
With an asterisk.
All right, 5-0. Passes. I figured we've had enough discussion over it. Nobody had anything more to say.
Yeah, bro.
Thank you very much, commissioners. Thank you, Nicole, for coming up today.
Sure. Thank you.
That's great.
Excellent job. Thanks, you
Nicole.
very much.
Brittany did all the work, so I'll definitely pass this along to her. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, commissioners, that's all of our business this evening. We can go to our press and public comment period, part 2. If there's anybody that has signed up or signed up on Zoom or have sent comments in.
Anybody on Zoom?
Oh, we've got nobody on Zoom, but we did get an email in about an hour
All right,
ago.
do we have anybody signed up outside?
Take a check.
Because if it's just an email, we can say, just read that and roll on through.
Only if you ran out there and signed up, because there's just nobody left.
Nobody outside.
All right, let's read the email.
Okay. This email is from Laura Robbins from Daycare Incorporated. Dear Commissioners, it is with a heavy heart I am writing this letter to you today. My name is Laura Robbins. I am the current director of Daycare Incorporated. I have just learned that Daycare Incorporated will not receive a grant from the Queen Anne's County Commissioners this year. It has left me perplexed and dismayed. Daycare Incorporated has been receiving grant monies from Queen Anne's County for a number of years and have been very appreciative of what has been received. The monies have been a real help in keeping the business in operation and in helping to achieve the extras that could not be afforded with just operational income. I would love to show you the playground improvements that were made in the last year with the grant monies received last year. It is the first time in many years that improvements could be made to the playground. The children love it. As many of you know, Daycare Incorporated has been providing child care services to the families of Queen Anne's County since 1971. There are many families that will tell you that they are glad we are part of the community. It is a struggle to operate a child care center and can also be very frustrating. It is a very labor-intensive business and one that can only charge reasonably for their services or see the attendance and income decline. This is why receiving grant monies from the county is such a boost each year. It is perplexing to me that we are not receiving the quote-unquote extra shot in the arm this year. This has been one of the toughest for daycare. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, our operations have been greatly affected. We had to turn away a large percentage of our families and stop providing them the child care they needed. We had to put over half our staff on unemployment and take over 2 months to give them viable employment again. Without a moment's hesitation, it was decided to keep the doors open to essential employees only in the state of Maryland. It just was not an option not to be available to the families that are so desperately needed us. Daycare has served the community proudly for 50 years and wanted to be available in their hour of need. It has been a struggle in a year that many have struggled. I understand that. I know that there are many businesses that have struggled as such, if not more than daycare has. Without receiving grant monies, it will be another year of struggle. Enrollment is still down because of the instability and the inability to bring families back due to space restrictions. We must adhere to MSDE guidelines or be shut down.
So he missed it.
That means that income is being limited once again.
Bad.
This is a strain because of still having to buy extra supplies and most times at elevated prices. Having to obtain the internet services necessary for virtual learning has tripled that expense. The upcoming increase in labor costs is something that we are trying to get a jump on. It will be devastating to have to do the increase all at once. So the plan is to do it in tiny increments at a time, not seeing income increase to before COVID-19 levels until possibly September or possibly later is very disparaging. The grant monies that would be received this year would allow daycare to have the funds for additional expenses that need to be taken care of now, not years down the road. It is known that it would be difficult or downright impossible to take monies from operations to care of some of our items now. I am asking, maybe even imploring, that you look over the budget and make the decision to include Daycare Incorporated in receiving some grant monies this year. It would be greatly appreciated this year, as it has been in prior years. It would give us peace of mind that things can get done and not have to worry about the non-existent funds, where they will come from. Please consider the fact that Daycare Incorporated has been an integral part of the community for a long time. Should you have any questions, concerns, or just require more information on Daycare Incorporated, do not hesitate to reach out to me. I thank you in advance for reconsidering your decision. Respectfully submitted, Laura Dobbins, Director. And that is our only email.
I appreciate Ms. Robbins' writing. And Todd, let's check on some of the CARES funding that comes in. I know there's different categories. Sounds like she's raised a couple issues that maybe we can see if some of the CARES funds applies to that. As far as the grants that we do as a county, when people apply, there's no guarantee that you're going to get it. And if you received a grant 1 year, it's not a guarantee that you're going to get it the next year. And they're not meant to be used as sort of operating expenses for outside entities. So I understand the issue she's raised. Sounds like there's some COVID related, so we'll look into that and see what we can do to help. Roundtable. Who would go first? Amy, Mamie, Phil.
Okay. I just have, it's really more a comment and an observation than anything. A lot of our businesses are looking for help. You can't go into a business and not see a help wanted sign. It's frustrating for the business owners and the employees that are carrying the load at these businesses that are understaffed. And I don't know the answer. You know, there's the question is, you know, the unemployment program that is being offered out there, is it an incentive to not go back to work? Again, I don't know the answer, but just a couple of the concerns that were shared at the Kent North Development Foundation meeting this morning that we had. But on a more brighter note, I'd like to congratulate the graduating class from Kent Island High School and Queen Anne's County High School as our seniors graduate next week and move on to two-year college, four-year college, a trade, perhaps the paid fire services or paramedics, whatever they choose to do, nursing. Best of luck to you. Go out and make us proud.
Commissioner Wilson?
Sure. First, Todd, are we square on getting, because if you guys remember, we were supposed to have on the agenda tonight about the getting rid of the requirement to have your subs named on a permit before you could get your building permit. I told Todd he was going to work on that inside, so we're good on that, right?
Yeah, that policy change has been made at the staff level at the planning and zoning, so that's rolling forward.
Just wanted to follow up. Okay. The other thing is you gentlemen have a little packet on your desk tagged APG on the front. So I met with APG Media.
Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah.
So I met with them beginning of this week. Thursday, last week. So they're obviously newsprint is down, so they're trying to look at a way to rebrand themselves here in the region, the Upper Shore, Midshore region. And they've come up with this idea here, which is more or less, I guess to just really summarize it quickly, it's a social media platform for people here local, so that you can get off of Facebook if you just want to find out what's going on here. It's going to be more of a positive website. It's going to bring in businesses, education, everything. It's going to kind of try and wrap the whole Upper Shore into one clearinghouse for information if you're looking for it. Like I said, if you don't want to have to go on to Facebook and scroll through a bunch of painful posts just to get to something you may be looking for. They're going to try to do similar to what we're working on here with a community calendar to have all of our nonprofits and all represented from a calendar standpoint and things like that. So they're just rolling it out. They just wanted to meet with us. I think it's a great idea because I think it's going to be something that's positive in terms of media, in a social media platform. So, like I said, it's a good idea. That, like I said, they're not selling newspapers anymore. So, when you're in the business of getting news and things like that out, this is a good way to rebrand themselves. So, I just wanted you to see this. This is their initial stab at what they're looking at doing, and I'm sure there's going to be more to come here in the next few months. As their plan is to roll out somewhere before the end of the year. So, we'll see what comes of it. It's kind of exciting. I don't know. I'd like to be able to go on to something that's got a more positive spin to it. So.
I like my social media with complaints. Yeah, I don't know.
That's an Italian name. Anyway, and finally, I just want to, this weekend's Memorial Day. Obviously, we're in a different spot than we were this time last year, Memorial Day. A lot more positivity out there. A lot more people hopefully are going to be getting out and enjoying the weekend. The weather looks like it's going to be halfway decent. But let's not forget what Memorial Day is all about, and that's to remember those that went before us, to make sure that we could all sit here and govern as we do and have the freedoms that we do in this country and not take it for granted. So God bless all those people, and gentlemen, enjoy your Memorial Day, and congrats to the seniors. I will be at the Queen Anne's County graduation, so that's it.
All right. The other Mr. Wilson.
I'm going to turn over my time to Commissioner Moran.
Well, I don't need a lot of time, but thank you for that. So really, the only thing I have is I'll echo the sentiments of Mr. Wilson with it being Memorial Day. And first and foremost, since there's always a bridge to talk about, all the steel plates are gone.
Before you go to there, thank you very much for your service to the United States Marine Corps.
Thank you. Thank you. But so the steel plates are gone, all the control joints are done, so we can't blame that on the backups anymore. And as we all know, 2 days ago, Sunday, we had a 13-mile backup. 13 miles. I mean, and it was no accidents. It was no jumpers. It was just
nice weather.
Pure nice weather. It was just pure capacity.
What was the east side, Jim? What was the east side backup?
That was 4.5 miles.
4.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, which was kind of strange that the east had. East dissipated quick. By 8 o'clock, the east was gone. By 8 o'clock, westbound was down to 4.5 miles to the Kent Narrows. So, just say to everybody, be safe out there. Take your time. Hope you enjoy your Memorial Day weekend, because a year ago, none of us were enjoying it.
Wasn't there an accident on the Kent Narrows Bridge though Sunday?
I don't know if there was on Sunday.
But it was brief. But
it was ironic. I left my house at 6 o'clock to go down to the Kent Narrows, and Route 18 was wide open.
Yes, I
And-
did
and
notice that.
I couldn't
Yep.
believe it. You know, I made it all the way to
For
the
some
liquor
reason,
store. Yeah.
they're staying
Made it to
off
that liquor
18.
store, so we also need to ask the state, and hopefully they'll, you know, they're on top of this, that they close the crossover.
They had it closed at 662.
Yeah,
on
but I don't
Saturday.
think they had it closed at.
I don't know if they did.
Yeah.
They're supposed to close those, both of those, but I will check them.
Yeah, we definitely want to have that closed.
See that.
From here on, moving out
Yeah.
through September, so we'll see what happens, and yeah, that's all I got.
All right. Well, I also want to say congratulations to the graduating classes of Kent Island High School and Queen Anne's County High School and in the private schools. You seniors had to endure something you shouldn't. You missed out on some of the best parts of your high school lives with COVID keeping you home, proms and homecomings and sports and just seeing your friends and, you know, getting to act a fool and with no consequences, because as you get older, that fun goes away. So,
Well, there's consequences.
yeah, the consequences. So we're proud of you pushing through, and we know you will make Queen Anne's County proud as you go. Whatever you do, just move out of your parents' house at some point in time. We put a couple people on boards and commissions today, and one of the things that we have is we don't have enough people who apply to these things. So a lot of times it's the same people who are applying and getting reappointed to them, and they all do a great job. But it would be nice to see more people apply for the boards and commissions. There are lots of ways you can be active in your county, and these are some of the most important ones. You're getting to provide direct feedback to the director level positions in the county and to the county commissioners and make an impact. So sign up for the emails that we send out from the county so you know when the boards and commissions are up. Send your applications, letters of interest in. We do go through all of them and look at them, and it's a great way for you to get active. I did that and got on a committee before I ran for commissioner, so it's a good way to learn more about the county and give back. The beaches and nature preserve, some people have seen new signage that has been put out at Terrapin Nature Preserve, Ferry Point Nature Preserve, and Mattapique Beach. So for those who don't know, Mattapique Beach is our only bathing beach that we have in the county. The water there is tested, so that's a safe place for you to be. Terrapin is, I know there's sand and it's up against the water, so it looks like a beach, but it's not a bathing beach. It's not meant for that. The funding was put in to make it a nature preserve. We have the trails there. Go hike them, look at birds, ride your bikes, enjoy them, walk along the beach. But what we're trying to do is prevent people from coming and camping out all day long. So coolers, umbrellas, hammocks, sitting at the camp all day. Those are not things that places like Terrapin were designed to have. And because over the years, the crowds have increased and it's got out of control, the nature there is not being preserved, the nature is actually being destroyed, and that's not the purpose of those places. So when you see the signs out there, please don't give the park rangers a hard time about that. They didn't put those rules into place, they're just there enforcing them, and that's their job. And the goal is to make those be places that more people in the county can enjoy, and they keep beautiful, and that other people from out the county can come and enjoy them and spend a couple hours walking the trails, then eat at one of our local restaurants or do something like that. So, but just please, if you hear that there's the occupancy is full and you can't get in, or someone tells you can't bring a cooler in to a certain area of the nature preserve, don't take it out on the line workers. They're doing their job. Call us and yell at us. That's what we're here for, part of our job. So it's summertime. I think we're going to go casual for the next meetings for the summer casual.
Call the ball, big man.
All right.
Call the ball.
Okay.
So next meeting, you want to tell them about our next meeting in 2 weeks?
Next meeting will be at Kent Island High School. So if you are on Kent Island and you haven't had a chance to come and complain to your commissioners, here's your chance. We're making it even easier on you. Come on by, or come by and say something nice. We like that too. We take it all. Or if you have anything that's a concern of yours, come and let us know. That's why we have press and public comment, and we'll have plenty of room for everybody to come. And we like having you guys come in person. It's been too long, so please show up. With that.
And why are the commissioners having their meeting at Kent Island High School?
They will be discussing some issues with the South Kent Island sewer. So there's public
Should
meetings.
redefine your casual. North County casual, South County casual. You guys never really defined it.
Camo, non-camo.
We have our own way of dressing up north, so I'm
Just tie, just no tie, right?
Yeah, we'll have to see how it goes. Might have to institute stricter requirements.
For North County.
apparently so.
All right, entertain a motion to adjourn.